Hi you guys, I wanted to put on some makeup, so I decided to come on here today and just add this to my routine, my weekly, I guess, part of my week of plant chores video. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk you through whatever I use and get ready real quick for today. The kids are back in school. I'm gonna start with the e.l.f. primer. It's the poreless primer, just a pea size of that. Yeah, sorry if you can hear. I don't know if that's like a lawnmower or weed whacker that you can hear in the background. But this is just an everyday makeup routine that I like to do whenever I put on makeup because I don't put on makeup every day. So after I do the primer, then I'll go ahead and do my concealer. I'm going to try this Tarte concealer. It's the Shape Tape. I haven't used it, I don't think. It has a little doe foot applicator. Hopefully it's not too light for me. But probably used too much, but we'll blend this all out. And I'm gonna use my foundation brush. Normally I just tap it in. Doesn't look like it's giving a whole lot of coverage, but that's okay. We will see how it wears and see if I like it. This is just a Wet n Wild foundation brush. This is more of a flat top foundation brush. I typically like to use more of a rounded foundation brush, but most of my foundation brush have broken down, and so I need to buy some more. I just feel like that's hydrating, but it's not really concealing, you guys. Let's see if I have another concealer that I can use, because I don't see any difference really in it concealing. I feel like that just blended away and didn't give me any coverage. I don't know. Let's try something else. I typically like to use the e.l.f. Camouflage Concealer. I get more coverage out of that, but I think this color is a little light. And if you know e.l.f., it's very high coverage, so a little goes a long way. Hopefully these two work okay together. Yeah, that's a little bit more coverage. It's a lot better. So, how did you guys spend your New Year's? Did you guys have a good time? Was everybody nice, happy, safe New Year's? I hope you had a nice, safe, and happy New Year's. We spent it here at home with the kids as we normally do. We don't really go out and do anything big for New Year's. We just hang out at home. My husband normally does a countdown with his Christmas lights. If you don't know, my husband does a Christmas light show at the house, and he typically does a countdown for New Year's. And then we go outside and bang pots and pans and wish everyone on our street a happy new year. And then we typically just go to bed. Well, I will message everybody in my family or FaceTime and wish them a happy new year, my family and friends, and then we typically just go to bed after that. All right, after the concealer, I like to go in with my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Although I should probably start using, and this doesn't have a doe foot or anything, so I just dot it around my face. And this is just to get like an even skin tone. I really like it because it's light. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin and it blends pretty well. I do typically take it down my neck because of my vitiligo, but you know, I'm trying to even out my skin tone, not so much cover the vitiligo. And then I will go in with my foundation brush that I just used to blend out my concealer. And I like to do a tapping motion first, and then I will kind of do a buffing motion as well. I start with my neck to make sure that it's all like evenly distributed and blended well. I know this is not a makeup tutorial. I'm totally treating it like it is. I used to do makeup here on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know that. I did take those videos down because I'm not really doing makeup videos anymore, and I just thought that I could add maybe my makeup routines in my videos. If you don't like this, you can totally skip to the plant chores that I'm going to be doing in this video. You don't have to watch this part if you're not into makeup or anything like this. Reason I stopped doing makeup videos was because, well, I really stopped doing videos, period, because of COVID, but I stopped doing makeup videos because I kind of fell out of love for makeup. Not so much out of love for makeup, but like just sharing that on my channel. And I found a new love with plants, and that's what I decided to change my channel to. If you've been here since my older channels, please let me know down below in the comments. I would totally love to know if you've been following me all this time. And if you have, you're awesome. Thank you so much for sticking with me through all my changes and I say all my changes because I did haul videos, I was into Dollar Tree, and just sharing a lot of finds and things like that, along with scrapbooking and things like that. So I did change a few of the things that I do on my channel now. I'm going to use this Hourglass brow pencil. Not the best brow pencil, but it's what I have on hand, and it's okay. It works for what I need it for. I just like to fill in wherever my brows are like sparse and to give my brows some shape. But what I was saying was I used to do scrapbook videos as well as home decor videos. I used to share DIY crafts and things like that. I do want to continue to bring that into my channel, but maybe more geared towards plants. So like plant crafts, plant DIYs and things like that. Some of you might feel that this is a full face, but in my opinion, it's an everyday in my book. You might not wear as much makeup as I do, but everybody's different. Everybody's skin is different. So you do what you like to do for your skin. This is what I like to do. Some people just like put on mascara and moisturizer and call it a day. Kudos to you if you can do that. I'm looking for my brow gel. I think I might. It's like a little travel thing, a Benefit brow gel. I'm pretty much out of this. I'm just scraping a little bit out of here, and this is just to keep my hairs in place. I'm gonna just use a little bit. I do want to get a drugstore one that I like from Elf or something. If you have any recommendations on brow gels, let me know down below in the comments. After that, I'm going to go ahead and set my foundation. I like to use the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour fresh wear, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this BH Cosmetic like tapered round brush just to set my whole face. I do try to get the creases out of under my eye before I set. Just with my finger. Try not to make all the weird faces. Can you guys do that when you do your makeup? Not make weird faces? I feel like it's a rite of passage. You have to make weird faces when you're putting on your makeup. You guys haven't been in this room. This is the first time I'm showing you this room, and you're not even seeing the whole thing because it's not ready. But when I'm ready, I will share with you guys this plant room. There's just a couple things that I want to fix. Like there's some holes that have spackle that I have to sand. I do want to paint the room, but I kind of want to stay with the light blue that you can see. So I'm going to look for a similar light blue because I like that it looks kind of like a sky, and I like blue. So yeah, so I have some holes that need to be filled. Well, they're already filled. I just need to sand them and see if they need any more filling after I sand. And then I have to paint. After that, I do want to put some kind of, I don't know if I'm going to go with curtains in this room or if I'm going to use the privacy film that I used in my other plant room. If you guys haven't checked out my other plant room, go ahead and check that out. The tour of that room, or like DIYs and things that I've done in that room. That room was a garage that was converted into a room way before we moved here. We bought this house off my in-laws, if you guys didn't know. Okay, now that all my makeup is set, I'm gonna go ahead and with the same brush. This is my favorite bronzer of all time. It's the Physician Formulas bronzer, and I've hit pan on this, and I have some other bronzers that I want to go through before I buy any new ones, but this might be a repurchase. I really like this bronzer. It's nice and soft. It's not too much. Blends well. I don't know what color this one is. Medium butter bronzer, I think it says. Maracuja butter bronzer. I don't know what the color is though. Probably the darkest one that they have, you know, because Physician Formula doesn't have that many. I mean, now they might. I don't know. But yeah, a little bit of bronzing. This really is a full face, you guys. I do some bronzing under the chin. I'm trying not to look at the viewfinder or my phone. I'm trying to look at you guys directly in the eyes, so sorry if I keep looking in the wrong direction. Do a little bit of nose contouring there. And then after that, I'm gonna go in with some blush. I'm gonna use this Cover FX. I haven't used this blush palette like in a really long time, so let's go in softly. I don't want super bright cheeks. In person, it looks a lot brighter. Okay, and just tap my nose a little bit, bring some light to my face. I like to put a little bit on my temples. Okay, and now I'm gonna go with a highlighter in here as well. It's like a rosy pink highlighter, so I'm gonna use that. You probably can't see it. It's very subtle, but very pretty. Okay, now for some eyeshadow. I don't typically always do eyeshadow, but I'm gonna use this Natasha Denona palette, and I'm gonna go in with the brown here. Kind of want to do like earthy tone, so that's what we're doing. I'm not going in with no eyeshadow primer or anything like that, because I don't think I need to do all that. Not today, at least. Wow, I picked up a lot of eyeshadow there. It's blending pretty well. I don't know the last time I used this eyeshadow palette. I will probably end up fast playing through all of this, because I know you guys probably don't want to hear all of these comments about makeup and stuff. Okay. Now with a smaller brush, I'm going to go in with this like lighter brow bone color just to blend the edges out a little. And now I'm going to use this like flatter tapered one. And I'm going to use that same brow bone color towards the inner part of my eye, just to brighten the inner part of my eye. And I'm going to go in with this like shimmery color in the inner corner of my eye. I'm going to use the same color to highlight my nose a little. Once I do all that, I just use some L'Oreal Infallible Pro Spray Setting Spray. And then we put on mascara. I'm just going to use this Wet n Wild mascara. It'll do for today. See the difference? So that is everything. Now I want to just do something on my lips. I'm going to use this Body Morphe Rosewood lip liner, and I'm just going to top it off with some NARS. Lip liner was kind of dark. I like to go a little lighter. This is like L'Oreal Infallible. I hope it's not matte. I don't know if it's matte or not. So that's it. Now we're going to go to the plant room downstairs and get some planty cuttings that I took from this room, planted. I'll check you guys out down there. So we're back in the plant room, and these are the cuttings that I have. I have some Hoya cuttings here and some that I hope take well. And then I have a bunch of Philodendron Brazil and the regular green philodendron and some global green. And we're going to go ahead and chop these up. Some I might put in perlite, and some maybe just in water because I'm running out of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you around so that you guys can see everything that I'm doing and point you downwards, okay? And I'll probably do like a voiceover if I don't talk in this video while I'm doing this, or I'll fast play this. You let me know down below if you'd like me to talk while doing these chores in the comments. Let's get started. So here's my pile of cuttings. I have a few mason jars that I'm going to put the cuttings into. And some of these are just, you know, spaghetti sauces or whatever. I just clean them out and reuse them. And I have my rooting hormone powder here. that I will be using. I also have my prop drops that I'll be putting in the water once I put these in water. I do have a whole box here of more mason jars in case I need them. And so basically this is self-explanatory. I'm going to use my shears. I am going to clean them before I start to use them because I don't remember if I cleaned them the last time I used them. I'm just going to clean them. And these are jars that I just keep reusing for propagations. A lot of these, all of these really in this pile are good propagating in water. So I'm not going to worry about putting these in perlite or fluval or anything like that. They've also been sitting here on my table for maybe 2 days. So hopefully they still take. And I'm just going to get my hormone powder ready. I'm just going to tap some on the lid, quite a good amount because I have so many propagations. And I will probably fast play all of this chopping. I don't think you guys need to see all of it in real time. So let's go ahead and propagate. These here are teeny tiny leaves, so I really don't want to keep that. So we'll get rid of that. This growth point has pretty nice sized leaves, so we're going to keep those. And I'm going to cut this leaf off so we can get this node in the water. You totally don't have to use rooting powder or any kind of rooting solution for this type of plant. I'm just doing it because I have it on hand. This plant is super easy to propagate, so you don't have to do that. I also do remove the sheath so that it doesn't rot in the water. You could totally leave the vine long as well. You don't have to do single node cuttings, but I like to do single node cuttings to create a nice full pot. I'm going to cut these 2 leaves because they're kind of small. Cut the stem and we'll stick the whole thing in water and leave the one top leaf on. This is the Philodendron Brazil. I'm going to put that one aside. Trying to do all of the Heteroecium, the green version, first before I clean my shears. Okay, so the rest of this looks like global green, so we're going to put this one aside. I do have one stem, I guess, of, yes, one of the Philodendron Brazil. So we're going to go ahead and cut that one up. I am going to clean it before. Okay, let's clean my shears again, and we're going to go ahead and cut up all of these global green cuttings. I'm not sure that I'm going to do 1 leaf cuttings for this because it's so much, and I'm going to try and separate the ones that are fully green and then the ones that have variegation. So that way I have a more variegated plant. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut this up into wet sticks or toss it, but for now I'm putting it aside. I don't know if I ever told you guys, but the reason that I'm cutting these up is because my global green was doing a lot of yellowing the leaves and I can't find any pests on there, but I decided to cut her back. She still has a lot of growth, but yeah, I decided to cut her back to see if I can just create a new pot of her. See these markings here? I'm not sure why she was doing that. I'm not sure if it was the fertilizer that I've been using recently, or I was underwatering or overwatering. But these unhealthy looking leaves that are going yellow and stuff, I'm just going to pluck them off before I even cut it up. Here's another wet stick that I could create. I'm only keeping things that look healthy. So I've already filled up the jars with the other cuttings, and I'm going to work on the Hoyas. I have these cell containers, these small ones, and they have a lid. They also have these lights that can get plugged in, but I don't think I'm going to need to use this part because they're going to go on my shelf under grow lights. So I'm just going to separate at least 2 of these to get them ready. And I think I'm just going to fill them with some fluval. I'm just going to get at least 2 of these ready, maybe 3. I think I might need 3, maybe even 4 of these. And I have to see if I have anything that I can cover the holes, because these have pretty large holes on the bottom. Let's get 4 of these ready. And then if I need the other 2, we'll do that as well. I'm not just doing right, actually getting all 6 ready. And then the fluval that I'm going to use is just fluval that I'm reusing. It's mixed with perlite. Hopefully it's okay to still use. And let me see if I have any mesh. I don't have any mesh, so I'm going to improvise and use a dryer sheet. Hopefully this works. I'm just going to use small pieces. I'm going to cut it up into little squares and cover these holes. I'm just going to make it big enough to fit on the bottom. And I'm just doing this so that the fluval doesn't fall through the holes. Hopefully this helps. So it kind of looks like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I have all my mesh or all my dryer sheets in the holes on each of the trays. Now we're going to go ahead and just scoop some of this fluval into the cells. I'm making a mess. Hold on. Maybe if I do it over this, it'll be better. Okay, once we have all the cells, then I'm going to put them on here. And now let's cut up some of the Hoyas. So I have the Hoya gracilis. This piece I cut off because, as you can see, it's super light green. It actually has a peduncle on it, but yeah, the stem wasn't looking good, and the leaves are super thin and dehydrated, so I decided to cut this whole piece off and propagate it. There's another peduncle here. There's at least 2 peduncles on here, and so we're going to cut this one up and put it in a tray. And hopefully these cuttings survive. I'm going to go ahead and clean my shears, and then we're going to do our cuttings. I am going to use the hormone rooting powder again. I'm going to put some more on here. And so I think I want to do 1 cuttings if possible. And I'm just going to start putting them in here. I'm being careful not to get too much sap on myself. This node has the peduncle on it. I might lose that peduncle, but that's okay. I'm not quite sure how many of these I'll be able to fit on here. We're going to try. The fact that there's sap coming out tells me that these cuttings, the stems are still alive, so hopefully these cuttings do well. This one has a really long stem. We don't need the entire stem, so we're going to cut that down. Try to wipe the sap off of the leaves so it doesn't affect the leaves. This one has 3 leaves, but I don't feel that we need all 3 leaves, so I'm going to cut this top leaf off just to save space. I will probably go ahead and pin them down after I fill up all the cells. This one has quite a few leaves, so I'm going to cut off the 2 larger leaves just because I don't need all 4 leaves. Oops. This one's a really long stem, so I'm just going to cut it down again here. This one has a peduncle. We might lose. I think this growth point was dying back, so we're going to cut that off. This is just a 1 leaf, which is okay. We'll put this one here. We've gotten all the cell walls, all the cells filled on this one, so we're going to go ahead and start another one. I'm going to put some fluval in it, and then we'll be back. So I have all the cells filled up. We're going to go ahead and finish this one. And I think I will just do the rest of the trays off camera, and then I'll come back and show you guys when I water them and put the domes on them, and then I'll show you where I decide to place them. Might have to move some things around on my shelves, which is no biggie. So this one's a pretty big cluster here. I don't really think I'll get anything from this bottom portion because there's just no node there. But let's try it anyways. You never know, you might get some growth. I'll have to definitely pin that one down. The reason that I'm doing this again is number one, I want to propagate this plant so I can sell it on my PalmStreet. And number two, I had these trays and I wanted to try them out. This is also a really close node here, so we're going to try that one. It may not survive because there isn't a whole lot of stem there, but doesn't hurt to try. This will be another one that I'll have to pin down. I might be able to get 2 pieces out of this one. Another close node. We'll give it a try. This one, I'm just going to cut off some of the leaves. There's no sap coming out of this, but it's green. So we're going to give this one a try as well. And I'll pin that one down. So only 6 leaves lost in that. Not a big deal. Now, since we're going to move on to another Hoya, I'm going to clean my shears. I'll probably pull out the pins and pin down whatever I need to pin down after I get done with all of the cuttings. So the next one I want to do is this variegated Bretonnier. Look how wrinkled it is. I'm going to try and save it. Probably won't be able to. I'm going to try and save like every other node. You have to get some sap, you guys, from the cutting or it just won't survive. Even though these leaves are super dehydrated, I figured they're still green. There might be some chance of being able to root them. And again, this was just a stem that looks like it didn't take. And this was from the Hoya that I repotted on here with you guys. I picked up at Home Depot. So the rest of the plant is doing well. We're gonna cut the growth point off, and I think I'll leave all 4 leaves on this piece. Not sure that it's going to root, but again, no harm in trying to save it. Okay, that was the only piece of that one that I had to save. Now we're going to do the Pediolata splash. My mother plant was growing a lot, so I decided that I wanted to make the pot a little bushier. And so I cut this strand off. This is the Pediolata splash. So I cut this whole strand off. We got quite a few cuttings that we can do from these. So let's go ahead and get started. This one has a long stem, so I'm just going to shorten it so it could fit. And then we're going to do cuttings for each node. I'm going to cut off the larger leaf only so it could fit in the trays better. And if you guys know the way Hoyas root, they can root anywhere along the stem, so you don't have to have a node. But your new growth point will come from a node. I might end up putting the trays in a larger dome. Again, really long stem here, so I'm going to cut it down just a little. This one is a 1 leaf, and the leaf is kind of facing upside down, so we'll see what happens with that. I think all the cells are filled in this one. Yeah, all the cells are filled in this one, so we're going to move on to the next. And I have to put the fluval in here, so I'll be right back. Okay, now I have the cells ready. Let's go ahead and finish cutting this one up. And just because it has such long stems, I'm going to have to start cutting the stem down on each of the cuttings. This one has a new growth point here, so we're going to try and keep that. Make sure I put this one towards the middle. I'm definitely going to have to pin a lot of these down, and I think they'll stay more in place once there's some water in there. Yeah, that one will have to be last. It keeps popping up. So since I have to pin this one down, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to do to pin them down. So I have these metal pins. Hopefully these work and they don't pierce the plastic. They look like they're not too long. These are what I typically use and what I have on hand. I think once I add the water, it'll definitely be a lot easier to keep them in. But hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Just going to put one in each cell to hold the cuttings in until they root. And these are metal, but I don't have any problems with any like rust issues. If they start to rust or anything like that, I just toss them because I have so many of them. But it doesn't affect the plant at all. I like these because they're super thin and long, and I just feel like they work really well in holding the cuttings in. So I've pinned all those down. I'm going to go ahead and pin the other ones. This is especially good for those that don't have long stems to hold them in until they root. And I know that with watering, the cuttings can rise up. So it's good to have something to pin them down. Fingers crossed that these cuttings survive and continue to grow. And what I'll do is I'll take a few of them and create pots with them. I think I skipped a cell here. Did I skip that one? No, there's a plant there. So yeah, I was excited when my husband gave me these cell containers because I can use less fluval and perlite, and I don't have to use like individual containers, and I can reuse this. I like the idea of having these trays. I've had them for a while, I just haven't used them yet, and I just got the bright idea when I cut these Hoyas down to try and save them and propagate from them. I got the idea of using it finally. Okay, they're all pinned down on that one. Now we're going to pin down the other cell, the other tray I meant. This one especially needs to be pinned down because it's the Burtoniae, species affinity Burtoniae is pretty wrinkly, and some of these gracillas don't have long stems. The only one that I'm kind of nervous that won't make it is the Burtoniae because it's so wrinkled and far gone. I was trying to give it time to hydrate and root, but looks like the plant never rooted inside of the pot, so, or the roots died back. They must have died back or something. So it got super wrinkly. Okay, I pinned everybody down. Now let's go ahead and finish the rest of the cuttings. So my Hoya Matilde Splash, it's just like regular Hoya Matilde, I feel like. It's not super splashy or anything like that, but I decided to take some cuttings of her. She has so many peduncles on these cuttings and such really long tendrils. I don't really know if these tendrils are going to take, so I'm going to probably just cut all these tendrils off and do maybe one node cuttings. Yes. So let's go ahead and get that started one strand at a time. We'll work on that strand first. We didn't finish filling this tray up, so we'll go ahead and fill this one up and then move on to the next one. Sadly, there's a peduncle here, but it looks like it probably was going to fall off. There's two peduncles on the strand, but the next cutting also has a peduncle. We'll see if that survives. This plant was doing fine. I didn't need to rehab it or anything like that. I'm gonna leave the top node on. I'm not sure if I want to put this in water or something. We'll see what I do with that. And the stem is kind of long, but that's okay. It'll be fine. I am still going to use the pin to make sure that it doesn't fall out. You gotta be careful with these pins because they do have points to them and you can like pierce through your container. Okay, this one also has a peduncle. Actually, the next cutting does not. I'll cut that. This one has kind of a shorter stem to go in the substrate, but we're going to do it. Put it in and use a pin. The leaves are kind of curling downwards. Trying to point them upwards. They might be touching the fluval. Hopefully they don't rot off. Okay. Next cutting also has a peduncle and a tendril. So again, I'm going to leave the first top node. And not sure again what I'm going to do with this tendril. I might put it in water. And we're going to cut just above that node. You don't have to do the rooting powder if you don't want. I just like to do it as a precaution because I'm going straight into the substrate. And we'll get two cuttings here. This is actually my first time propagating the Hoya Matilde. The stem is a little long, so I'm going to cut it just a little bit. Poke a hole. This one has a peduncle as well. I'm going to try not to bury that one too much. I have one more cell wall here. So let's cut a piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting up the rest of the Matilde, and I'll come back when it's time to water these propagations. Okay, so here are all the trays. They're all done. And I'm going to go ahead and just start watering. I'm just going to water from the top. I did use some of these prop drops. I did have ran out of fluval, so I did this tray in just perlite. And I know these cells don't have anything in them, but I think I might actually cut some other Hoyas and fill them in. But for now, I just wanted to make sure that I added my water to these plants. Once I decide where I'm going to keep these, I will show you guys where I put them. So yeah, I'm trying to make sure that the cells are filled. I can't really tell what the water level is. I'm going to try and fill these all the way up because you basically want to treat these like they're water propagations in the beginning and have the water level pretty high. Would you guys use these trays for your propagations? What do you guys think about using these little mini trays with the cells? I can imagine you can even do this with Pawn if you like to use Pawn to root your Hoyas as well. I just use fluval and perlite because that's what I have. I'm completely out of Pawn. All I have of Pawn is literally this little tiny cup here that I have to clean out. So yeah, I'm just going to top water all of these and I'll be back to show you where I put them.